US Fed Reserve. It's voted to keep rates on hold, but there was a little dissent today. Tom Piotrowski, good morning to you. Does that affect things at all?
9 votes to 2, Pete, was the way that the FOMC voted in relation to keeping rates on hold. So if you were being a little bit cynical, the 2 votes that were in favour of cutting rates are Donald Trump appointees. So there's another story around all of that. But look, the bottom line is, Pete, the categorisation on the part of the US Federal Reserve Board is that the job market is still quite strong. There is an inflation situation that's above target under the current circumstances where the tariff situation is yet to crystallise itself. The central bank is opting for caution. We saw evidence last night of that strong employment market, a private measure of employment growth, the ADP report, which is an important prelude to the official government numbers on Friday. This was markedly stronger than what the market had expected. And also the growth figures for the second quarter, whilst at a headline level were stronger than expected, the underbelly was a little bit soft, with consumer spending considerably weaker than what the market had anticipated. So within that, there were enough vectors, for example, to justify the central bank keeping rates on hold, although this will probably get quite a firm rebuttal from the US president, who has been railing against the Fed chairman. But nonetheless, in terms of prices, Pete, we saw US stocks around their best levels of the day when the FOMC decision was announced, and they dropped considerably after the news of all the comments were released, and we had the S&P 500 down by 0.25%. So from its best to its worst levels, it fell by about 1%. So unwelcome in that context. We had some earnings numbers from Microsoft and from Meta after the market closed, and these numbers were much better than what the market had anticipated. So you've got Microsoft shares up by about 7% in after hours trade, and Meta shares are up by the better part of 10%. So that's good news. So a lot of moving parts, Pete, and that's all going to translate to a loss of about 0.25% for the ASX 200. Just watch out for the copper facing stocks today. We saw a very steep decline in copper prices last night. At one stage, they were down by the better part of 20% after the Trump administration tweaked the application of tariffs being applied to copper imports overnight. So that was the catalyst for that big decline in the red metal.
Yeah. Even though we don't send a whole lot to the United States, only about 1%, isn't it, of our total copper exports, Tom?
Off the top of my head,
I think it's about that.
I'd require to take that on advisement, but yeah, and there's a very significant difference between the copper prices in the United States and the copper prices outside of the United States. So there's a yawning gap between those two. So that gap will be redressed as far as the next couple of days are concerned.
All right, Tom. Thank you. We'll talk to you in a few hours.